Today's episode will discuss vision. As we continue July's theme of mapping greatness, of course, there's nowhere to go but up, and I don't want you guys to miss out. Check out the description on whatever platform you're tuning in to stay connected. Also, don't forget to make this your favorite podcast, so if you could, subscribe and share. There's always room up here. And with that, welcome to Cloud Thrive. I'm DaiJuan, life coach and your host, and thank you for joining me on Cloud Thrive. As we continue to rise to greatness and achieve great things, let's make sure that we continue to be real, stay on target, push through with a clear mind, always willing to rethink the possible, but most of all, let's thrive. With this month's theme being mapping your greatness, in this episode talking about your vision, it's only fitting that I talk about the 4 questions that are extremely vital in making sure that you understand the roots of where your vision and where your inspirations are coming from or how to find it. And from there, I want to also share with you guys a quote from James Baldwin that really came back to me in a way that I see things differently today than I think things have been going. And I want you to kind of share and join in the conversation of what this is doing for you. So with that being said, let's jump right in. Let me just share the quote from James Baldwin, because then that will frame how we discuss the four questions that support clarifying your vision and your inspiration, and then we'll go on from there. So the quote is, "Those who say it can't be done are usually interrupted by others doing it." Now, I've read the quote before, and I've read the quote a couple times, and it didn't hit me the way it hit me recently because of all the things happening in our country and around the world, and how really the rose-colored glasses are coming off. With that being said, we are in a space of change, which is currently inviting this new breath of changing or expanding your vision, of really looking at what's inspiring you, if something new is inspiring you, to find the clarity that you're going to need to achieve anything. Really sits in these questions. So let's jump right into the questions. The first question is, what do you believe will make you happy? So we haven't even talked about like what the specific goal is and what, that magical moment in the park did for you as it inspired you to like achieve a goal. But like, what do you believe will make you happy specifically? And in order for you to determine that, we have to think about our authentic self. What does our authentic self need to be happy? The second question is, why do you believe that this vision or, this moment belongs to you and no one else? Like, really nail down into like, is it yours? Like, out of like the billions of people on earth, this vision and this goal is yours. Are you claiming it? And if you are, what are you going to do with it? The third question is, how do you believe this is influenced? Like, what do you believe influenced you to see this vision? What has influenced you? Really, this is where we start bridging into inspiration. There are a number of things. It could be an experience with a family member or friend. It could be an experience with a stranger. I mean, anything could happen. It could be more of you saw a need, so you filled that need. Also, in the last question is, how much of your true self will thrive in this? Because if we're not being our authentic selves, is this Vision is this inspiration truly going to be fulfilling? Because we oftentimes seem to believe that we have to be, in some ways, as good as the person who's made it before me, instead of carving out our own path to greatness. We can champion those who have done great, but you are also great. And what is stopping you from moving forward into that space of greatness? There's always going to be somebody who is inspired by what you do, by what you say, and by where you're going. But one thing not often does everybody see is the work that you're truly putting in on the back end. They see the final product. And so that may change the frame of how you see things, but yeah, it's okay. But keeping that in mind, you then understand that it's seamless. And I think that's where things become um, more aligned for you. So, like, what's a vision? What do you see? Your vision, and I want to break this down because there's two parts to this. So, let me share this part. Well, let's stop here and begin to kind of just think in and digest those four questions. And let me go through them again so that I know that you have it. So, the four questions that you really want to ask yourself, when you're trying to nail down or clarify what your vision or your inspiration is number one, what do you believe will make you happy? Two, why do you believe this specific vision belongs to you? Three, how do you believe this is influenced? How are you influenced? And what does that mean for you? It has to make sense to you. And the fourth question is, how much of your authentic self are you being to this vision and to this goal? So that's four things. Those are the four vital questions that would need to be answered as you begin to deepen your roots into whatever it is that you're achieving. You want to make sure that, and it doesn't have to be on paper, you don't need to chisel it in stone, but those are four very integral questions to ask when really trying to work toward achieving the next chapter or looking at the next phase for you. It's a big deal. It truly is a big deal. So let's pause here. All right, let's keep going. So let's first circle back to just close out vision and inspiration. Again, like I shared, those are two very distinct things. And so oftentimes when working with clients or facilitating group sessions, the trend that I oftentimes observe is that people will use a vision, or they'll use vision and inspiration interchangeably. So what I would like to do here is just define both of those for you, just so that you have a good sense uh, and of what both of those are. So one, let's start with vision. The vision, well, to think about a vision, you want to think about how you decide to plan. No limit, whatever you're imagining in the grand scheme of things, if that's how you like to think about it, that's your vision. Without limits, where do you see yourself? What will that look like? Um, that really is how we begin to frame your vision. And some people, they have it very meticulously planned. And for others, you'll notice that it begins to clear the older they get, or depending on the experiences that they'll have with other people. So vision is is your own. I would share that. Vision is your own. It depends on how you see the world and how you choose to engage with it. From there, we talk about inspiration, which again, it really defines what has inspired you. So it's really almost like that fire that got lit before you saw your vision or before things snapped into focus. That's what your inspiration is. So when we start talking about what has inspired you or what your vision is, what we're asking is one, what's the big picture? And then two, what inspired that big picture? So the second, or the inspiration is, just taking a moment to really sit in what has stimulated you, what has sparked that joy or happiness in you, what has lit a fire up under your butt that now you're just like, I know what I'm going to do. I know what the next steps are. And starting today or tomorrow, this is what I'm doing. So that's really where I want to break apart vision and inspiration. And so now I want to move into the last part of today's show by discussing success and adventure. I really want to talk about how we define success. Oftentimes we allow our environment to define what success is without truly objectively looking at it and saying, that's not for me, or my success looks this way. And this is how I choose to engage with my success. So when we start thinking about your success, or we start thinking about just the word success, we want to be very clear about the the space that you're in. Are you being influenced in that moment? Are you relaxed? And are you able to think clearly? If those three things apply, then begin to ask yourself, going back to the earlier questions, is what do you believe will make you happy? So that really speaks to your success, this pathway of success, because the more you think about it, you're able to start to determine your milestones. When I reach this point, I will have gained a bit of success. I will have seen that growth. Because with success, of course, there is always growth. So, in this second or change, and so as we talk about this sense of adventure, a lot of people share that like they don't have an adventurous side or they're very cautious. And I say to that, if that makes sense to you, then okay. However, there's always this burning flame inside of people, whether they want to act on it or not, that says, you can do it. Why not you? Why the other guy? What will your adventurous spark be? So, to recap, uh, all of what we've gone through, we've talked about vision, we've talked about inspiration, we've talked about success, and we're talking about adventure. And you notice that they're all very relative. And this is all determined upon how you look at things. And we have to be realistic with ourselves that when we set a goal, especially early on, and we constantly put it off, we constantly say we'll get to it, and you had that window of opportunity, well, you've been saving your whole life for this moment to jump in and say, I'm ready. I'm here. What's next? When you get that burning feeling and you start acting on it, then things become more clearer. Those around you will understand that you've seen what you needed to see. It's not you buy success in a box. It's not 3 easy steps and you're there. It's truly living your life. It's truly deepening those experiences that you have with people and having the opportunity to move forward in that. And yes, it's going to be scary, or it may be, or it may not be. I know a lot of you guys are very confident, and I think that's awesome. But for some, moving forward is a new step. You're cautious, and it's understandable. And to that, I say, take one step. If you're able to take that one step, think about how many more you could take and how far you will go. And when you look back to see where you started, you will have exceeded your own expectations. Success belongs to you, and defining success is purely determined by you. And I am extremely proud with all of you guys. And next week, when we start talking about self discovery, I'm going to be sharing a bit of feedback from a few of our listeners. So I look forward to next week's episode as we begin to wind down. So, with that, I want to move into the next piece. I'm going to pose the question of the week, and this is a great opportunity for you guys to join in the conversation. So I look forward to hearing from you all. Respond through podcast or share your comments on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram using the hashtag CloudThrive. And the question of the week is, what do you make more complicated than it has to be? Now that, huh. Yeah, I'm going to have to think on that one. Check out all of the platforms for my response, and I hope to see you there. As we begin to come down from Cloud Thrive and champion through the rest of the week, I want you guys to remember to build strong, rise with intention, and thrive with courage and confidence to be the change you want to see. Again, this cloud is big enough for all of us, and don't forget to subscribe and share. With that, we'll connect again next week.